Hello, my name is Thomas, and I'll be going over the economy disadvantage for the Genetics Aff. First, I'll briefly talk about the structure of a disadvantage. There are four parts: the uniqueness, the link, the internal link, and the impact. The uniqueness argues that the status quo, or what's going on right now, is fine, but it's vulnerable, and if the plan is enacted, something bad can happen to the status quo. The link is that negative change that the plan causes, and it's called the link because it links the plan to the impact. And that happens through the internal link, which is the extra step. Sometimes there are multiple, so it could be extra steps that explain how the change that the plan makes to the status quo, that negative change from the link, gets us to the impact. And the impact is the bad thing that ultimately happens as a result of the plan. In this economy disadvantage, our uniqueness is that the economy is strong right now, and it has recovered completely from the woes of the COVID pandemic. The authors back this up by citing economic data like lowering interest rates, positive economic growth, strong household income, robust job and wage growth, and durable consumer strength. So all of these are just measures and metrics of how well our economy is doing. And finally, the authors argue that in the status quo right now, a 2024 recession is unlikely. So the link comes from the National Institute of Health, and it's from 2022. And the author discusses how requirements like the plan that require researchers to offer payments to patients for the use of their genetic material will increase the costs of research, and that ultimately makes it too expensive to conduct. According to the NIH, these costs are not only due to the payments to patients themselves, but also the administrative costs of hiring more people to actually facilitate those payments and disperse that to patients. Lastly, with these extra costs, the research that pharmaceutical companies are engaged in becomes too expensive to reasonably conduct. That leads to our internal link, which comes from Gray 2024. And in this card, the author asserts the importance of the pharmaceutical industry to the US economy more broadly, citing valuation and market share data. So both of these are, again, just measures of how important the pharmaceutical industry is to our economy. Gray argues that drug development, which is a key part of the pharmaceutical industry, is enabled by our current governmental policies, and the plan as something that deviates from those current policies would hurt drug development by making it too expensive. And remember, that's our link, which is saying that regulations like the plan are going to be prohibitively expensive for research. Given the importance of the industry to the US economy, this decrease in pharmaceutical profit would risk a broader economic decline or collapse. That leads to our impact. And in this card, the authors argue that the economic decline of the US economy as a result of pharmaceutical decline will lead to global conflict. And they argue that when countries are presented with economic decline, they become more violent and prone to engage in aggressive action with their regional adversaries. And the author provides historical proof of this phenomenon by citing when Russia faced economic decline in 2008, they invaded two of their neighbors. So that brings us to the overall story of the disadvantage. Our uniqueness is that the economy is strong now, but the plan increases the costs of research for pharmaceutical companies, making it prohibitively expensive. That's our link. Our internal link is that pharmaceuticals are key to the US economy, so when their profits decrease, it risks economic collapse. And the final impact is that this collapse or decline in the economy leads to increased global conflict across the board. Thank you.